There's no additional witness to call.
All right. Let's bring the jurors. Are we ready to proceed other than that? Ms. Hannity?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, bring jurors on in.
Jurors enter in courtroom.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hopefully you had a good lunch. State's next witness.
Lieutenant Mark Watson.
Detective Musser. Detective, if you'll come to the front, we'll have you sworn again, please, if you raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. All right, so if you'll come right around here and have a seat for me. And you can adjust that microphone. Mr. Guy?
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon again. Would you please remind the members of the jury of your name?
I'm Detective Mark Musser.
And I believe you testified earlier that you traveled to Brevard County on November 24th, 2012, the day after the shooting.
Yes, I did.
Prior to leaving for Brevard County that morning, did you speak with the defendant by phone?
Yes, I did.
And by the defendant, I'm referring to Michael Dunn.
Correct.
How did that come about?
During our investigation, we had come across a phone number that belonged to Rhonda Rauer. And at that point in the morning, it was early morning on Saturday, I called the number, attempted to get in touch with Ms. Rauer, and Mr. Dunn, in fact, answered the phone.
And what did you tell the defendant?
I told him who I was, and I told him that I needed to talk to him. And I asked him if he was still in Jacksonville, and he stated no, he had just arrived home approximately 5 minutes before I called.
And what time was your phone call?
10:35 in the morning.
After that conversation, were you advised that the defendant was arrested in Brevard County?
Yes, it was.
And then you headed down to Brevard County that morning?
Yes.
Did you make contact with the defendant in Brevard County?
Yes, we did.
And did you interview the defendant that afternoon?
Yes, I did.
Where specifically did you interview the defendant?
At the Brevard County Sheriff's Office.
And tell the members of the jury approximately what time your interview started.
The interview began approximately 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
And can you give the jury some sense of when the defendant was placed into that interview room?
I know he was taken into custody at about 11 a.m. I believe he was placed in sometime a little before noon that day.
And why was there a delay between the defendant being placed into custody or the interview room and the start of the interview?
We had to travel down to Brevard County. It's about a 2.5-hour drive.
When you interviewed the defendant, were you with someone or by yourself?
I was with my partner, Detective Oliver.
And is that standard procedure to have two detectives conduct an interview?
Yes, it is.
Who assisted you? Was it Detective Oliver?
Correct.
All right. In your law enforcement career, can you estimate for the members of the jury, please, approximately how many times you have participated in the interview of a suspect?
I would guesstimate somewhere around probably 75 interviews.
And was the interview of the defendant recorded both with audio and video?
Yes, it was.
And was the defendant's interview taped from start to finish?
Yes.
At any time during your interaction with the defendant, did you or Detective Oliver promise the defendant anything in exchange for him speaking with you?
No.
Did either of you or anyone else, to your knowledge, threaten the defendant in any way to get him to speak with you?
No.
Prior to asking the defendant any questions about the murder of Jordan Davis, did you advise him of his constitutional rights?
I did.
And how did you do that?
We have a constitutional rights form that we go over with the interviewee.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Detective Musser, let me show you 203. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what do you recognize that to be?
That's the constitutional rights form that we used in the interview with Mr. Dunn.
How do you recognize it to be the same?
It has Mr. Dunn's signature, my signature, Detective Oliver's signature, and the date and time of the interview.
And can you just explain briefly for the members of the jury how you utilize that form to advise the defendant of his constitutional rights?
With the form, usually the first line, I actually have them read out loud, just so I know that they can read. And then I go over each right with them, ask them if they understand their rights, and then I ask them to sign at the bottom that they do understand their rights.
And did the defendant sign the form indicating that he understood his rights?
Yes, he did.
Did you have any questions or concerns about his ability to understand the instructions that he was given?
No, sir.
When you interviewed the defendant, did you ask him whether or not there was music on in the red SUV when he pulled up?
Yes, we did.
And what was his response?
He said it was not.
Did the defendant ever quote in that interview Jordan Davis as saying, I should fucking kill that motherfucker"?
I don't recall that exact quote, no, sir.
Did the defendant ever tell you that the deceased slammed whatever it was against the door?
Not that I recall.
Did the defendant ever tell you that he said to the deceased, "You're not going to kill me, you son of a bitch"?
No, he did not.
Did the defendant tell you during the interview where Jordan Davis was when the defendant started shooting?
Yes.
And what did he say about that?
He said he was in the rear passenger seat.
Did the defendant tell you how much he had to drink at the wedding prior to?
He stated he had a toast and a rum and coke.
Did the defendant ever tell you that Jordan Davis said, "This shit is going down now"?
No, he did not.
Did the defendant ever tell you he was paralyzed with fear?
No, he did not.
Did the defendant tell you that Rhonda Rower wanted him to call the police that night?
Yes, he did.
And at some point, did you ask the defendant for consent to search his car?
Yes, I did.
And did he agree to allow you to do that?
Yes, he did.
All right. At the court's instruction, are you aware now that certain portions of the interview, certain portions of downtime have been redacted?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Your Honor, do you have the redaction instruction for the jury?
I do not.
All right. May we approach?
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to view a video recording. Let me instruct you that the recording has been edited to eliminate irrelevant portions that would not add to your understanding of the case. The fact that the recording has been edited should not concern you in any way and must not impact the way you view and consider this evidence. So again, if you see some part of it that looks like a glitch in it, that may be where editing took place, but again, it should not impact you on the way you view it or consider it.
At this time, then, I would ask to publish States 204.
Yes, sir.
What was your name again? Wade. mean, I'm Mike.
How you doing, Mike?
Like I said, I've been better.
Yes. Hey, so we're just gonna be waiting for the detective from Jacksonville, the sheriff's office up there?
I hope I can satisfy him.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. We're just gonna keep you tucked in here. Unfortunately, this is where we'll be staying for a little while, okay? If you gotta use the bathroom, I am right outside here, okay? I'll be in and out, checking in on you, just making sure everything's okay, okay?
Thank you.
And Agent Hall, I have an actual candy bar for you, but I do have these.
Perfect.
And that's why I eat, so.
Thank you very much. Guys have a magazine or anything? Oh, you're gonna stay in?
Maggie, I'll be right back. You want to eat a little bit, and I'll be right back then, okay? I will be.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. How you doing, sir?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm Detective Oliver, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. This is Detective Michael. Hey, I spoke to you earlier today.
Okay.
Have a seat.
Sorry to be meeting you guys under crazy circumstances.
It happens. Obviously, you know why we're here and what we, need to talk to you about. Okay. But I'm going to go over, before we talk to you though, I do want to advise you of your rights. Okay, make sure you understand those rights. Okay. I know this is going to be a stupid question, but don't get offended. This is a standard one. You can read and write, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's a standard question. I assumed you could. Just to verify that you can, just do me a favor and read this top line out loud right here.
You have the following rights under the United States Constitution.
Okay. The rest of these I'm just going to read out to you. If you have a question about anything, you just ask me. Okay? You do not have to make a statement or say anything. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before you make a statement or before any questions are asked of you, and to have the lawyer with you during any questioning. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questions if you wish. If you do answer questions, you have the right to stop answering questions at any time and consult with a lawyer. Okay? Do you understand those rights?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you could just sign where it says signature, and by signing there, you're just acknowledging that I went over your rights with you and that you do understand your rights. Okay. This is Brevard County, right?
Yes.
I'm using 1,500 more. Okay. Just going to get some basic info from you first, if we could. And it's Michael, correct?
Yes, I go by Mike, but my
You go by Mike?
given name is Michael.
Given name is Michael? Okay. Michael. What's your middle name, Michael?
David.
David. And it's Dunn, D-U-N-N?
Yes,
Correct.
sir.
Okay. And what's your birthday?
12/10/66.
And what's your current home address?
257 Ocean Residence Court. That's South Patrick Shores. 32937, I believe.
What's that? Let's say it again.
Ocean Residence Court,
Okay, and what's this? Where is?
South Patrick Shores.
You have a cell phone?
I do.
Okay. What's that number?
It's area 772-201-1362.
Where do you currently work at?
My mom and dad have a business, computer software. It's called, we want to know where. It's in Vero.
Vero Beach?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's Spirit Software.
Okay. How long you been working for them? How long you been working for them?
Oh, off and on a long time, but this last stint since September of '04.
Okay, so a little
Been
while.
quite a while.
Are you from this area originally, or?
I was born in Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
Was around Port St. Lucie for a while, and then moved to the Keys, back up to California, and then back to Port St. Lucie.
Okay.
You a Vikings fan?
I was, and then when I lived in California, I was a 49ers fan, and now I'm a Bucs fan. And And the Jaguar.
Yeah, none of us are Jaguar fans. No, there are no such thing.
Anybody who plays the Dolphins.
Okay, I can live with that. I can live with that. Obviously, just kind of want to talk to you about what occurred last night up in Jacksonville. But I'd like to kind of back up to, when did you come to Jacksonville?
Thanksgiving Day.
Thanksgiving Day, okay. And what was the reason you came to Jacksonville?
My son was getting married on Friday.
Oh, okay, he was getting married on Friday?
Yeah, and we have a small dog that we were going to travel with,
Mhm.
and the check-in time was right around the time of the wedding on Friday, so we thought we'd go up early on Thursday just to be there already.
Okay, what time was the, so you came up Thursday, where were y'all staying?
We were staying at the Sheraton,
Okay, do you remember where?
Deerfield, but I'm...
Sheridan off Deerfield?
Yes.
Okay. Friday, just, what time was the wedding at?
4.
4? Okay. So during the day, you're just getting prepped up for that, getting ready for that. Where was the wedding at?
Is there Orange Park? Is that someplace close by?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Orange Park, and an old house.
An old house.
70s house right on the...
On the water?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice ceremony.
Okay. About how long do you stay there?
I don't know, but we were on our way back to the hotel when we stopped at that store.
Okay. And let me back up for a second, just back to today. Let me just so I can verify a couple. Are you under any, do you take any prescriptions or anything like that? Any kind of...
I do, but it's anti-inflammatory for
Okay.
my lower back.
Lower back pain, okay. You never been diagnosed with any kind of mental health issues
No,
or
sir.
anything like that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I hold a CWP. I've been on private pilot. I'm good upstairs. I'm
Okay.
a computer programmer.
Okay. Any alcohol or drugs today?
No, sir.
Okay. Just have to make sure, just kind of want to make sure you and I can just make sure we're having a lucid conversation, is all.
I don't have much sleep.
You don't have to tell us.
Reading the news reports, what the aftermath was. I didn't sleep very well last night.
Okay. Well, I can understand that. I can understand.
We haven't had any either.
So, yeah, we're right there with you. Okay, so you go to the wedding, and you guys are headed back to the hotel. Do you remember the route you were coming? Do you know the name of the roads that you were on, or
On my phone,
you just follow the directions on the phone? Okay. And you decided
95, get off on wherever to,
95 up to probably Bay Meadows,
that sounds familiar.
and then hang a left on South Side, I think, or you keep going on Bay Meadows, I'm trying to remember.
I think we, whatever road we were on, we went straight until we turned down to Deerfield.
Okay, okay. So you pull into the gas station. Okay, what was the purpose of stopping at the gas station?
My fiance wanted to stop and get a bottle of wine and some chips.
Okay, what's her name?
Rhonda
Rhonda, what's her last name?
Rower.
Rower, okay. So just kind of walk me through, just tell me from your point of view, what you guys pull up, you're driving, now it's your car, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're driving?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's a Volkswagen, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Rhonda's with you, she's sitting in the passenger seat, no one else in the car with you, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Just kind of walk me through kind of what happened at that point.
Well, I'm embarrassed to say this, but Rhonda got out. She's in the store, and there's like a SUV next to us, and then the music starts. And I rolled down my window, and I thought I was polite. I asked them nicely. I didn't demand. I didn't. Or else I said, hey, would you guys mind turning that down? And they shut it off. I was like, thank you. Cordial. Everything's cordial. I put my window back up. I'm doing my stuff. And I don't know how many kids are in that, but the windows are down for the back seat. The windows are up for the front seat.
Okay.
And the guy that was in the back is getting really agitated. And my window's up. I can't hear everything he's saying, but there's a lot of fuck him and fuck that and fuck that bitch. And then the music comes back on, and, I'm just like, live and let live, and don't need any trouble. And I don't know if they're singing or what, but it's like, they're saying, kill him. So I put my window down again, and I said, excuse me, are you talking about me? And it was like, kill that bitch. And, I'm still not reacting, but then this guy, like, goes down on the ground and comes up with something. I thought it was a shotgun. And he goes, you're dead, bitch, and he opens his door. And I'm shitting bricks. But that's when I reached in my glove box, unholstered my pistol. I mean, I practiced this. I'm at the Fort Malabar rifle and pistol range. I'm an avid, gun guy and all that. No military training or anything, but I have friends who are in the military that show me the... Yes, and so quicker in the flash, I had a round chambered in it, and I shot.
Okay. Do you remember how many times you shot?
4.
Okay. Okay, just keep walking me through kind of...
I shot 4 times, and that SUV pulled out, and like I said, in my mind, they got a gun. And so, not training, just from, I was still scared. And so I shot 4 more times. As they were
fleeing?
Yeah, trying to keep their heads down to not catch any return fire.
Okay. All right, and then...
And that was it. I mean, I still didn't feel safe. I thought, there was another car. I didn't know. I mean, I'm in a strange town, in a strange area. I just had my life threatened. The love of my life is in the store. And she doesn't know what's going on. She come outside to see what was up. And I was just like, get in the car. We have to go. I just didn't feel safe there. In fact, we had plans, in fact, a fairly expensive bed and breakfast paid for in St. Augustine. And, after what happened last night, and we were like, we have to go home and call the local sheriff and tell them what's up.
Well, where'd you go after...
We went right to our room.
You went right to the hotel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't leave. We were just like shooting bricks, waiting for another carload of thugs to come. I mean, I've never been so scared in my life for somebody to be, I thought they were singing, like, you're gonna die, bitch. I thought that, and then it's getting a little louder. That's when I put my window down and was like, you talking about me? And that's just like, you're dead, bitch.
Okay.
So I went over this a million times, and what I should have done is put the car in reverse. But a shotgun come up or whatever, it was fight or flight. I don't think there was any time for flight at that moment. I was going to get shot.
Okay. So they pull out, as you said, you shoot to kind of keep their heads down as they're pulling out. Is that kind of your intention?
I did have a shotgun aimed at me, and I don't want them shooting at it.
Okay. And then Ronnie comes, gets in the car, you guys leave and drive and go back to the hotel room. Okay. And you guys just stayed in the hotel room at that point? Did you go anywhere else?
No, we ordered out. We got pizza.
Pizza. What time did you check out this morning?
8, I think. When you called early this morning, we had just got home, and I unpacked our few bags, and our neighbor just down the way is a real good friend of ours, and he's in the government in some capacity. Well, he's in law enforcement. I don't know which branch.
Right.
But we were going to go talk to him and like, do you know anybody in the sheriff's department that we could talk to? Because, I didn't want it to happen the way it did. The way it did is sheriff came with AR-15s, and so I was trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
It's like, I give up. But that's where you called when I was out the door to go.
Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know at the time that they had actually they were actually responding before I even got on the phone to them. So when you and I were talking, unbeknownst to me, they were already alerted to your presence there. So.
Well, maybe my neighbor. Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah, because, I told me.
Right. That's why I said, I was being honest with you when I said I'd give you 5 minutes to, kind of, like you said, I'll be out the door in 5 minutes. I said, okay. The gun, is it your gun?
Yes, it's a gun I've had since like 1990.
Okay, what kind is it?
It's a Taurus, PT-92.
Okay. You know what caliber?
9mm.
9mm? Do you normally keep it in your glove box?
Always.
Always in your glove box? And you said you kept it holstered?
Yeah, it's a holster that's right inside the waistband, but I'm a little heavy. I used to carry it, but I'm too heavy.
So now you just keep it in the glove box?
In the glove box.
Okay. Where is that gun now?
It's in my glove box.
It's still in the glove box. Okay. In your car. And your car is at your residence currently, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many, do you normally keep it fully loaded? Okay, you keep it fully loaded but not chambered. You got to chamber it?
I don't. My military friends think I'm an idiot, but I just don't.
Okay, no, that's what I'm saying. You normally don't keep it chambered. You knew you'd have to rack one to put one in the chamber.
Yes, it's a practice
Right.
maneuver.
Right.
Well.
No, I know. I'm aware. I know. I know you're in a strange town, and you had this traumatic event happen to you, and I can understand that. Okay. The problem, I can tell you, where we start to kind of get a little wondering is by the time you say you get to your hotel room, you're calling to order pizza. Why aren't you calling us?
I wanted to come back to my hometown to do that, so Rhonda and our dog and everybody were where they needed to be. I didn't want to bring a shitstorm down on them in Jacksonville.
Okay. Well, I mean, it wouldn't, they haven't, Rhonda hasn't done anything to be worried about. She hasn't.
True.
It's not like, she's there.
Yeah.
There's nothing she did
I
wrong.
was, I shouldn't even left the scene, but I left the scene because I was still afraid for.
Okay, and I can live with that. Okay, I can live with that. You don't necessarily want to hang around right where the shooting happened because you don't know if these guys are coming back. I'm good with
Or
that.
if there are more.
But once you leave and you are away from that scene, and you've even gotten to a hotel room and inside your hotel room at that point, now it makes me wonder, because if you make a phone call, one, we find out, a lot quicker what's going on. Okay? The reason he and I haven't been to sleep since sometime yesterday is because we're trying to figure out, all we know is we got a dead kid in a car, okay? And we got a guy shot and hauled ass. That's all we know. You see what I'm saying?
I do, and Rhonda pushed me to call you guys last night, and I was insistent on waiting until we got around people we knew.
Okay. I just, that's where we start to get a little concerned. It starts to be, and we can speak to, I personally have had a case with an individual who was moving to Jacksonville, first day in Jacksonville, and got involved in an incident and felt threatened and shot another person and was in their car. And he drove across the street to another parking lot and got on the phone with 911 immediately and started walking police into where he was. you know, that's the way, I mean,
I have nothing to say other than that.
There are other problems that we have too. When you began to shoot, can you honestly tell us that you ever saw a gun inside that vehicle?
I saw a barrel come up on the window, like a single shot shotgun where there's a barrel. I didn't see this part of the barrel, I saw that part of the barrel. And it was either a barrel or a stick, but sir, they're like, we're gonna kill you. And then they say, you're dead, bitch. I mean, I didn't wait to look to see if they were gonna point it at me. He reached down and picked it up. And
You say he, who reached down and picked it up?
well, hopefully it's the guy that I hit. Though it
Where was
was,
he sitting when he reached
he
down?
was sitting in the rear passenger side.
Okay.
And that's the guy that was really agitated. And then that's the guy that I asked, are you talking about you're gonna kill me? Like I said, I didn't know what, you know. My window was up, he was saying a lot, but that's what came through. And I put my window down to ask him.
And the music is still playing at this time? And you,
Yes, but he is really loud and really animated.
louder than the music that's bothering you?
Yes, well, the music was a nuisance at first. You know, with my car shut and the windows up, and you just hear the heavy bass. And like I said, I just said, hey, would you mind turning it down? And they did. They shut it off, which, you know, I said, thanks. But it really wasn't an issue of loud music. It was an issue of them threatening my life.
But it started from you.
Absolutely, and, you know, that's when I started
And the
telling you
music
guys
was
I'm
playing when
good.
you pulled up?
No, it was not.
It was not?
No, it wasn't until Rhonda got out of the car and she'd been gone for a little bit. She wasn't in the store very long.
all right, I'm gonna say it's not in there very long.
Like I said, there's some issues that we have. I'll be the first to tell you there's no weapons in the car. I don't know what you saw.
That's possible when they drove off, they dumped it.
They never left the parking lot.
Yeah, they drove out, circled right back around, and came right back to that spot.
Oh, okay, because,
They circled around until they saw you leave, and then they drove right back.
Because
They saw you leave at that
So you
point.
leave and they realize their friend had been hit. So they never left the parking
They
lot.
came right back at that point.
okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Here's what has to happen. I know that from your position right now that you're going to do everything to protect yourself. And I can't say that I blame you for that. But we're going to need the total truth as to what happened. Not this story that I've had from 7:30 last night till 12 o'clock today to fix up. Okay, because the only thing that's going to make sense to us is the truth matching the scene. And there was the biggest problem we got, the first hurdle we got to get over is that there's no weapon in that truck.
Do you have a stick? Because he stuck something up.
I'll double check it. I don't recall seeing anything like that, really, but I'll double check it. I'll look again. But we, you know, obviously our main thing is when we're going through, we're looking for any kind of weapons, any kind of evidence of a weapon, shell casing.
Well, the problem we have is that the last set of rounds when the truck is backing away from you, and you put 4 more sets in it, 4 more shots into it. That's an issue. Because now if it's backing away, it's no longer a threat.
Yes, sir, I understand that. In my mind, they had a weapon.
Okay. I can't shoot someone because in my mind they had a weapon. That's the problem. I mean, if I walked up to someone right now and I'm having a confrontation with them and I think they have a weapon, the law won't allow me to shoot him because I think he has a weapon. I think you would have a hard time arguing with your statute versus any one of them that they could get out and beat you up.
Or 4 of them.
Even the 4 of them. I think you would have a hard time arguing that the 4 of them could have done anything to you.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this, how were you, when you pulled your gun out, say you're sitting in your driver's seat like that straight ahead, how did you shoot? Did you shoot one-handed? Did you shoot two-handed?
Two-handed like that.
Two-handed like this, you come across your body, okay, and you shoot the first, what you said, 4 shots is what you remember, and they start backing out. Do you continue to shoot through the window, or do you
I don't recall, but I do remember getting out of my car and taking, like, getting sideways, and I was, like, waiting for the wink, or,
Once again,
all this is,
once again, if you think they have something, think they have a shotgun.
they had a shotgun.
You think they have a shotgun. You're gonna get out of your car so they can get a good aim on you? Make that sense?
Well, at the time, I was doing everything on adrenaline and no...
But I'm just saying that we're trained to, if we think something is there, to get out of the way.
To get out of the way.
Cover or concealment. So you're telling me that you thought they had a shotgun, but you got out of your car so they would get a good aim at you, is what you're telling me.
Well, I thought maybe they would shoot at the car and I wouldn't be in it.
But your car's not shooting at them. You are. Why don't we shoot at your car?
Yeah, they can't. Honestly, sir, I'm at a loss to justify what I did on the second volley,
Right.
other than to say I thought they were going to be shooting back, and I was keeping them from doing that. And I was in such a panic. Fear for my life, for the love of my life. That I didn't,
After for the love of your life, what have they done to Rhonda?
well, had they been out of their truck doing whatever to me when she came out, they would have, I just assumed,
Once again, we're acting off assumptions.
Because they weren't out of their truck.
They were not out of their truck.
the guy was coming out of his truck.
The driver had gone in the store.
The guy that I was talking to, the one that I shot, he was coming out of his truck. That's when he said, "You're dead, bitch," and opened the door.
Okay, and at that point, were you shot?
That's the point where I went and grabbed my gun.
Okay.
Because I did, everything's fine. They're just talking, and then all of a sudden...
So you get the gun, rack it, and then reassess?
No, I didn't reassess.
So you went, grabbed gun, and rack, came up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you see him start to come out of the door of the truck. At that point, you turn to get your gun. Is that correct? You take it out of your glove box. You unholster it. You rack around, and you come back up on target.
Yes, sir. Fluid motion.
Okay. In the amount of time he's starting to get out of the truck when you first start to go get your... But yet, by the time you come back and start shooting, he's still in the truck.
He's coming out. I think he saw what I was doing and was running back in. I don't know. But
That's why I'm a little thrown off here. Okay? Because he is sitting in the back seat of that truck when he is hit. Okay? Because the bullet goes right through the door. 3 bullets went through that door. Okay? He wasn't hit standing outside the truck.
Oh no, I know I shot through the door.
Okay, so
driving him back.
how'd you get him out of the door if you're shooting through it? You're confusing us.
Alright. When the latch is coming off the door, that's when I went to do what I was doing with the gun. And when I came back, I'm firing.
When the latch is coming off the door?
No, when I got my gun out of the...
When you said earlier, when you see the latch, what do you mean by the latch coming?
Well, the door's opening, and he's stepping out.
Okay, and he's stepping out.
Yes, and then
And you go and reach, but by the time you come back and come up just blazing, somehow he's still sitting in the truck.
Well, maybe I'm not as fast with the whole thing as I think I am, but It was,
Or maybe he wasn't getting out of the truck.
no, absolutely he was.
Here's the other problem we have. The guy in the front seat, the front passenger seat, he sees you.
He has a perfect view of the whole thing. His windows up.
He sees you getting the gun. So why would he let his friend get out of the truck when he sees you getting the gun?
Pardon?
Why would he allow the victim to be getting out of the truck when he already...
I have no idea. I mean, I think the guy in the front was the reason.
We also know that this was 7:30, 7:45 p.m. and the Gates gas station has several customers in the parking lot and everywhere. And we've interviewed several people. This is the very first time that anyone has told us about anyone getting out of a truck.
And here's where I would have a question too, is you're saying you feel like you have a threat that this guy's got a shotgun in your view. Okay, so you think he's getting out of the car. Okay, so you turn to get yours. If he's unarmed, which he is, why is he going to be...
I don't know, maybe
Now
it's
you-
unarmed. The sad fact of it is he's telling me he's gonna kill me. You're dead, bitch.
Because you asked him to turn the radio down?
See, that's the part where I don't
And you know what? And I'll tell
You're
you,
getting really agitated.
I understand it, because believe me, we deal with guys who you ask them to turn the radio down, they would get out of the car and shoot you. We deal with those kind of dudes all the time.
Here's what I can almost bet you a year of my salary on. When you got into a confrontation with those guys, a man of your stature, if there was a gun in that truck, they would have shot you. They would have had to get out. They were shot right there. They were shot from the truck just like you were shooting from your car.
Because you guys are, you're directly next
They
to
have people on you. The truck is actually higher than your car.
I'm in front with the front passenger.
And we can tell you another thing from working murders in Jacksonville. People don't get out of the car to be seen when they're shooting someone. They're going to shoot you right inside that truck.
All right. I mean, he's getting out of his car. We're this close to each other. He was getting out of his car after repeatedly telling me that he was going to kill me. So, is he going to bite my ear off or shoot me with a shotgun? I wasn't too concerned about how he intended to do it.
Now, and I'll tell you this, we talked to the other guys in the car, and they will all admit, they will all tell us, Jordan, that was his name, said, yep, Jordan didn't like the fact he told him to turn the music down. He wasn't happy about that. He didn't like the fact that some stranger is telling him to turn his music down. He's 17, he's a teenager, okay? You know how teenagers are. They're a little hard-headed sometimes, especially when they're out on their own. And did he throw some F-bombs at you? Basically tell you to go fuck yourself multiple times? Absolutely. They said, yep, he was jaw-jacking back and forth with that guy. But at no time did any of them say, well, okay, he did say he was going to kill him. Because it makes no sense, because what's he going to do? He's not armed. What's he going to, I'm going to kill you, and get out of the car. And we're talking about a kid, they pull up so the driver can run in and buy cigarettes. It's the only reason they're even there. They just got back from going to the mall. That's it. So I have a hard time buying how I can totally see him talking shit to you. I can see that. But to take it to a level that he's threatening to end your life, when he can't. There's no way he can. He doesn't have anything.
I didn't know that.
I know.
That's all the reason all the reason why you took your next step too far.
Yeah, well, the problem is you went from 0 to 100 rather than getting 50.
I have a guy very irate saying he wants me dead. Well, if the other guys aren't corroborating, I'm sorry, but
And understand too, there's people in the parking lot can hear what's going on too.
Not one of them. We We have what's called independent witnesses.
Yeah, not
I
associated.
understand, I wasn't sure that I heard him right, that's why are you, is this directed towards me? You're gonna kill me?
And that happens to be an exact quote of, "Are you talking to me?" That was an exact quote. Guy in the truck said, he said so to the effect of, "Are you talking to me?"
Yeah.
So that's dead on. Yeah, he was talking to you. He's basically telling you to go fuck yourself, and I'm going to turn the music back up.
Yeah, the music was already up, and he's talking, kill the guy.
I just can't understand, if the music is up to the point where you ask them to turn it down, how can you also hear the conversation that they're having? It's not making any sense.
He's livid, he's not talking, he's yelling. And my window's up and I can hear him, I'm not making out all the words, but then I hear, kill that son of a bitch, or kill that motherfucker, I think is what he was saying.
How do you know it was him saying it?
Well, when I put the window down and I asked him, he said the same thing, yeah, kill a motherfucker, and then when he was opening his door, that's when he said, you're dead, bitch. And, when you say he didn't have a weapon, he's on the ground, and you put something up on the thing and then gets out. I thought it was a shotgun. Or a stick, or, some kind of weapon, but he's confrontational and using words like, I'm going to kill you and you're dead. And I didn't know he's 17. I thought he was a full-grown man. I thought they all were. And in my mind, they're all going to get out of this truck and shoot me or beat me or...
Had that been the case, we would have a different argument. Had anyone been out of the truck, walking towards you in any type of threatening manner, we would have...
We were parked right next to each other.
Yes.
There was no walking. It was him getting out and he was an arm reach from me.
But their cars are so close to each other, though, him getting out, it's going to be hard for him to get out because he's back away from you. His door opens up. He's actually going to be shielding himself from where you are because you're closer up to the driver.
All these things you're saying are great, but, I didn't analyze all these things. I got the shit scared out of me.
Oh, no.
And some guy's coming at me, telling me what he's going to do or wants to do. I reacted. I'm sitting here telling you guys I was in fear for my life. I honestly was. I have so much going on in my personal life. The last thing I want to do is be in trouble. I don't want to cause you guys a sleepless night. I don't want to lose my freedom.
This is what we do. Don't worry about that. This is what we do.
Well, I mean, the last thing I'm looking for is trouble. The last thing. I mean,
I have one asking someone to turn their music down in a public place.
Absolutely, that was stupid of me. Around here, I don't think...
If you do process and elimination, had you not done that, then we wouldn't be here today, right?
Absolutely.
Running around.
Absolutely.
Do you think you overreacted?
Well, I think I got the shit scared out of me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And, if we want to say because somebody's dead, hell yes. That was,
Well, no, not even somebody who's dead. Let's say nobody even gets hit. Do you think you overreacted? What if you just hit the car a bunch of times and they drove off with a bunch of bullet holes in the car?
Sir, from where I was sitting, a shotgun was coming up at me, and so, I don't want to sound, like an asshole, but if it happened again tomorrow, where a shotgun was coming up, I think I would do the same. I hope I would.
And you know what,
Not be
Mr. Dunn?
afraid to do the same.
If there was a shotgun coming up at you, we would expect you to do what you did. The problem that we have is that there is no shotgun. That's the bridge that we got to get across. You said you keep dwelling on the shotgun as if there was one at the scene. If there was a shotgun, a BB gun, any type of gun at the scene. Hell, if there was a water gun that was black, it looked real at the scene.
Like I said, it was a barrel. Could have been just a stick, but, I mean, it was...
Could have been your imagination?
Well, no. I mean, anything's possible, I guess, but him coming out of his car was not my imagination.
Okay.
And it was right after I saw that he started coming out of his car and saying, "You're dead, bitch."
When you went and grabbed your gun, racked it, and came back around, what were you shooting at? Did you acquire a target or did you just start shooting?
I shot at the door.
Which door?
The rear passenger.
You shot at his door.
Yes.
Okay.
What was the purpose of that?
Saved my life?
From the door?
No, he was coming out of his door, and then I guess he went back in it, but that's where he was.
I was just saying, hypothetically, you and him exchange words, he opened the door to go in the store to use the bathroom.
He wouldn't have said, "You're dead, bitch," and then,
I'm just saying.
well, then I guess I would be in trouble if that was the case. But that's not what happened.
And Rhonda, correct?
Yes, sir.
She's in the store the whole time.
Yes, sir.
So she's not privy to any of this. She
Never
doesn't see any of
He
this.
is livid.
She basically stands at the counter and all of a sudden she starts hearing gunshots. Okay.
So many gunshots that she leaves the wine on the counter.
Yeah, paid for it, and left the wine and chips. Didn't even take it with her. Because at that point, and was going out the door going something, basically calling your name. Michael. What'd you do, Michael?
She said that the first volley they heard, and then when I got out of the car, they said, "Oh, it's the guy in the black car," and she thought it was me, and she told me this later. She goes, "I was telling them it's okay, it's Michael."
Mhm.
Like,
I know that
it's
guy.
not you guys are safe.
Mhm.
What guys were safe? It definitely weren't the guys in the truck.
Well, the people inside the store.
Oh, yeah.
I feel really bad about the boys in the truck, you guys, I really do. If I could,
And let me,
undo this, I
I'll
would.
let you in, just from doing our investigation. We are so lucky, really, there should be 3 of those 4 should have been hit. 3 of those 4, you could have 3 dead guys right now. Okay? Luckily for the guy in the front seat, his door stopped the bullets. They entered the door, but they didn't go all the way in, because the front door's got bullet holes in it. Okay? And there's another one you shot when you were doing the suppression fire, basically, to keep their heads down as they're driving away. You put one in the back of the car, several shots directly into the rear of the truck, and one of them comes zinging in through the back and goes right up and hits the sun visor where the driver is as he's driving out. Didn't miss his noggin by much. So we can very easily have 3 victims at this point. Luckily, those guys didn't get hit or any way, shape, but they're all fine. Except for the poor guy who's pretty much was dead right there. It didn't take him long. He was gone. It's, and I'm just letting you know, we're just, and like I said, we see a lot of scenarios, and we deal with threatening situations. I mean, it's not, we deal with them all the time where somebody defends themselves. I mean, we do. And there are clear-cut cases where you go, yep, sure did, buddy. You defended yourself. Have a nice day.
But let me be the first to tell you,
This ain't one of
not
them.
one of them.
Unfortunately, this is not one of them. Okay, because unfortunately, we have between the witnesses and the trial, they're friends with the guy in there, but they've got their perception of what's going on. But there's other people there who fill in blanks for us, who are independent. And we haven't had anybody even hint to us that one was getting out of the car, 2, that anybody heard any actual physical threats to anybody. There were some F-bombs getting dropped.
Kill that motherfucker. I mean, did they concentrate on the F-bomb and miss out on the verb?
I'm just telling you what people tell us. We ask them, what did you hear? Because I show up at a scene, and I don't know anything about what happened. We just start going, what did you see? What did you hear? What did you see? What did you hear? Because you might hear something different. You might hear something different, see something different. You know, everybody sees things through their own little, and believe me, we've done this long that the other witnesses see things, can see the same thing, and totally get it wrong, you know, two different stories when you get it from them. That's why we try to talk to everybody out there. Give me a break real quick. I want to check my photographs and see if I can find what that is you're talking about. So I can show you and see if you can remember what it is that you think you saw him with. Okay? Because I got some photographs from him in the car. I want to see if that's good with you. If we can try to figure out what it is you saw. So at least we're not guessing. Okay? Fair enough? I mean, I'm asking you, man.
I'm not real good with gore.
Oh, no. I'm not showing you any pictures like that. I'm not showing you any pictures like that. No. I'm just simply showing you things that are in the truck. No gore, no nothing like that. Okay, I don't do that. I'm not going to throw pictures of guys, the victim in front of you. It's not my style. Okay, I'm not here for that. But you're telling me you see something in the back. I'm just trying to see if I can figure out what it is you saw.
When I saw it came up on, like, where his windows down, come up like this.
Okay.
Maybe sticking up like that, and their window's taller than mine. I can't see the barrel, but it was something he picked up off the floor and set there. However, and then he's getting out.
Okay. Well, look, let me find it, and then that way we can clear up exactly what it is. So that way we're not guessing what I'm talking about.
I'm not feeling so hot now that you guys are.
Unfortunately, we have that effect. Sometimes.
Well, I don't mean sick. I mean, actually, I'm starting to be sick in my stomach. I don't know how I can express to you guys that I was in fear for my life.
Okay.
I've never been so scared in my whole life. I've been mad and my hands shake, but I was so afraid that I didn't have time to think. I only reacted, and I don't know how to.
And understand what I'm saying to you. I'm not there, okay? You tell me that's what you're feeling, okay? I take what you're telling me. But I also have to go with what the physical evidence of the scene tells me and what other people tell me, because they interpret things differently also, okay? Earlier you said that, the last thing you needed right now is to get in trouble. With what's going on with your life that...
Oh no, my life is great. I'm got a place on the beach. I got a great job. I got a great girl. We just got a little puppy. I mean, I've got great friends. I have everything to look forward to, and there was nothing that would make me want to jeopardize that.
Okay.
There's no reason to want to even attempt to jeopardize what I have.
Okay.
Were you angry last night when all this happened?
Not at all. I just left my son's, my firstborn's wedding. We were in a great mood. We were gonna get a bottle of wine and go drinking in the room.
Were you drinking at the wedding at all?
I had a toast and rum and coke with the meal, but I wasn't drinking, if that's what you meant.
No, I'm just asking, were you buzzing at all, or?
No, I have a pilot's license.
Okay. Can you get you something to drink?
Yes, please. Water would be awesome.
Water? Okay. Well, give me a minute. We'll be right back, okay? Just real quick, a couple things to clear up with you. What I would like to do is just part of doing the thorough investigation that we do. I would like to get possession of that firearm. Okay. So what I would like to do is, it's in your glove box of your car, correct? Which is inside your garage of your house. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have my keys when I
Yeah, they said you had the keys. What I would like to do is I have a consent to search form I do it for your house and your car, because your car is technically in your house. Okay, but what I'm going to look at, obviously, is retrieve the gun that's in your car. Your car is what I'm concerned with. I'm not going to start going through all the rooms of your house or anything like that. I don't care about that. I'll be straight honest with you. I'm just...
You don't mind if you go through the house, just don't tear it up.
No, that's what I say. We don't do that, first of all, and I have no reason to think there's anything in the house. Okay? The gun's in your glove box. That's what I'm looking for, so that means I don't have to go banging around looking for other stuff. But I want to go over this with you and have you read over it and make sure you understand it first before you consent to it. Okay?
Okay.
So, just read over it. I kind of pre-filled the blanks in there. If you have a question about something, you ask me. I'm sorry, go ahead and finish. I'll ask that question in a second.
I'll sign that.
Okay. You just sign where it says consenting party.
Sure. Now, what were you gonna ask me?
Normally keep it fully loaded.
I keep the magazine loaded.
Fully,
but
not chambered, right. How much is the magazine, how many rounds does the magazine hold?
I think 15.
15? Okay, so it's a full size, is it a full size 9?
Yeah, it's just like a Beretta, but it's the TARDIS. It's
Okay.
made on Beretta tooling.
Okay. Because I know they make all the different, you can get smaller versions, carry, the slimmer ones for inside. It's more of a, what color is it?
I think it's nickel.
Nickel? Okay.
It's the only handgun in the glove box.
Okay. Did you remember when you purchased it, like you said, what, about 20 years ago? Is that what you said, early 90s?
Yeah.
You just get it
It's like 12, 13, I guess. Oh no.
That's pushing 20 years. That's pushing 20 years.
I had it before my daughter was born, and she was 22, so yeah. What was your name again?
Wait.
Wayne, I'm Mike.
How you doing, Lee?
Like I said, I've been...
Detective, was that the sum of your interview with the defendant?
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Ms. Hanania?
Detective Musser, Detective Musser, you talked about, yourself and Detective Oliver talked in that videotape about having Mr. Dunn's story fit the physical evidence. Is that right?
Yes, I made reference to that.
Okay. Now, at the time that you're talking to Mr. Dunn in Satellite Beach, you hadn't searched the plaza next door, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
No one searched Mr. Brunson the night that this occurred, correct?
Searched him physically?
Yes, sir.
No, ma'am. I believe he would have been searched before being put into a patrol car. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know that, Detective, or are you making that assumption?
I know standard policy before a person is placed in the backseat of a car.
Detective Musser, do you know that, or are you making an assumption?
I did not do it.
That is asked and answered.
I don't believe he answered it, Your Honor.
It's overruled.
I did not do it personally.
Okay.
I'm going on standard policy.
Okay. And that would be standard policy when you're putting a suspect or a witness into a patrol car, correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You don't know, and nobody ever told you that Tevin Thompson was searched that night, physically searched, correct?
No one told me that, no, ma'am.
Okay. And you don't know, and nobody told you that Tommy Storns was searched that night, isn't that right?
That is true.
Okay. There was, at the time that you're doing this interview with Mr. Dunn and contradicting him about what happened out there, there had been no thorough search of the Gate gas station parking lot for any weapons. Isn't that right, sir?
Object to that is asked and answered.
Overruled.
Go ahead, Detective.
I would disagree based on the information we had. I think a search was done thoroughly.
Sir, did you ever search any trash cans around the Gate gas station?
There was no evidence at the time that there was any reason to search the trash cans at that time, ma'am.
Okay. So what you're saying is there was no reason for us to do that type of search, and therefore that type of search wasn't done, correct?
Correct.
Now, when you called Mr. Dunn, you were still in Jacksonville?
Correct.
And he told you that he was in Satellite Beach, correct?
He did.
He did not try to hide from you what his location was, correct?
He told me when I asked him where he was, yes.
Now, sir, we've watched this videotape of this interview. Mr. Dunn tells you from the get-go that he fired that gun. Isn't that right?
That's true.
He tells you from the get-go why he fired that gun. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, it would be fair to say that you go into that interview with your own theory about what happened. Isn't that correct?
At that point, I go into that room knowing that this is the individual that shot and killed Jordan Davis.
Okay. And you go in there with a theory as to how that happened. Isn't that right, sir?
Not completely at that time. I don't have a full story at that time.
Okay. So every time Mr. Dunn tells you, I did this because I was scared, and you guys confront him about that, it's not because you have your own theory about it.
It's at that point, it's not matching what we've learned at that point.
Okay. Meaning what the three guys in the car told you, right?
What they told me and what Mr. Dunn wasn't able to tell me because he wasn't there that night.
Now, sir, you keep telling Mr. Dunn it'd be different if there had been a weapon, right?
If I had proof of a weapon there, obviously that changes the scenario.
Okay. You keep telling him if there had been a weapon, if we'd found a weapon, this is a different scenario, right?
Obviously, adding a weapon to the scene changes the scenario.
Okay. But again, you hadn't searched the location that you knew the Durango went to and stayed for at least 5 minutes at the time that you're interviewing Mr. Dunn, interrogating Mr. Dunn, correct?
I'm interviewing Mr. Dunn. I would argue with the 5 minutes that the car was gone. And also, once again, if that was information I had at the scene, if Mr. Dunn had still been there, it would have been a lot easier to back up his story.
Okay. So, obviously, you weren't there. You don't know for sure how long that Durango was gone or not, right?
I have a pretty good idea.
Okay. You have an idea based on the fact that the shots went out at 7:38 and at 7:43 it's back there, the car's back there at the gate parking lot, according to the videotape and phone records. Isn't that correct?
I would make reference to the fact that I can listen to the radio transmission between the officers from the time the officer hears the shots to the time the officer arrives at the scene and views the truck parked in the Gate gas station parking lot, and it was less than 5 minutes.
Now, in spite of the fact that Mr. Dunn told you from the get-go that he did it, you kept on questioning him. Isn't that right, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And it's true, isn't it, sir, that he cooperated with you completely throughout this interview?
Yes.
It's true that he cooperated with you throughout this investigation, correct?
He cooperated during the interview, yes, ma'am.
He also cooperated in giving you consent to search his home. Isn't that right?
Correct.
You didn't have a search warrant for his home at that point.
No, ma'am, I did not.
Okay. So normally you would require a court order in order to go into someone's home or its surroundings and search it for anything. Isn't that right, sir?
If I did not have the owner's consent, yes, I would need a search warrant.
So certainly Mr. Dunn assisted you in your investigation by, at your request, signing that document to allow you to search his home.
He just made the process quicker.
Okay. And therefore, meaning that you didn't have to go to a judge and get a search warrant,
I
correct?
did not have to get a search warrant.
And he told you where the gun was when you asked him?
Yes.
Okay. He hadn't gotten rid of it or anything like that, right?
Correct.
Which is one of the reasons that you as lead detective could ask that casings be compared against the gun, right?
Correct.
He told you about the condition of the gun, isn't that right?
Yes.
Now, sir, throughout this interview, both yourself and Detective Oliver talk about the fact that no weapon is found. Isn't that right, sir?
That is correct.
And you say to Mr. Dunn, it's not enough what's in your head. Isn't that right, sir?
I don't recall if that was me or Detective Oliver.
One of you, during the course of the videotape we all just saw, says to him, it doesn't matter what's in your mind. Isn't that right, sir?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. You are not a lawyer, would that be fair to say?
That is correct.
And you're aware, of course, Detective, that the law says the threat didn't need to be real. Isn't that right, sir? I'm trying to find out if he knows that, sir.
Do you know what the law states?
I can't quote the law.
Then that's the answer.
Do you know the gist of the law, Detective Musser, on this?
I know the gist of the law, yes, ma'am.
May I?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
The law is what I'll instruct the jury on.
Now, it's true, sir, that throughout this interview, Mr. Dunn tells you over and over again that he was afraid for his life. Isn't that right?
He makes those statements, yes, ma'am.
Okay. He makes them every time you come back, every time you don't accept what he says. He's consistent about the fact that he was afraid for his life. Isn't that right?
He made that statement, yes, ma'am.
Okay. He made it over and over again. Isn't that right, Detective?
He stated it several times, yes, ma'am.
He told you during that interview that the guy in the back was really agitated. Isn't that right?
He did state that.
Okay. He told you that the guy was coming out of his truck. Isn't that right?
He made that statement.
He told you that he heard that man say, "You're dead, B," right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. He told you that he heard that person coming out of the truck threatening to kill him.
Yes, he did.
He told you that he saw the man lean down, the young man lean down and grab something and put it up against the car door or window. Isn't that right?
He did.
And he told you that he saw a gun.
He said he saw a barrel or a stick.
Okay. Well, he said he saw a barrel, and he said that several times, right?
Yes, and he also said it could have been a stick.
He said that after you had indicated to him that y'all hadn't found a gun. Isn't that right?
That's true. He still said he saw a stick.
Okay. And he said after that, over and over again, I saw a barrel. I believe I saw a gun. I don't know what it was, but that's what he believed at the time. Isn't that right, sir?
As I said, he said he saw a barrel or a stick.
And sir, you talked with him during that interview about Miss Rower. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
And she had told you that when you talked to her as lead detective in this case about the statements he had made to her. Isn't that correct?
Sustained.
And at the time that you are interviewing Mr. Dunn, he's already been taken into custody. Isn't that right, sir?
Yes, he was arrested.
Okay. I don't have anything else, Your Honor.
Mr. Guy?
May I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Detective Musser, when you interviewed Leland Brunson, on the night of November 23rd, 2012, did it look like he had a long rifle or a shotgun in his pants or in his clothing?
No, he did not.
Did he look like he had a firearm on him of any kind?
No, sir.
Tommy Storns, same question.
No, sir.
Tevin Thompson?
Nothing.
Prior to your interview of the defendant, did you have any reason to search the plaza next to the gate station?
No.
You were asked about your reliance on the time the SUV was gone. Would you rely on the witnesses who were actually there?
Not as much as I would something I could verify. Witnesses, obviously time is relative to the person who is basically counting the time in their head.
How about the videotape of the store? Would you rely on that?
Yes, sir.
You were asked about your continuing questioning of the defendant after he told you he had acted in self-defense. When you interview suspects and they tell you they didn't do it or they did it, but there was...
Your Honor, relevancy. I
Judge.
don't limit it to this.
I didn't really get the question yet.
If
Try
you-
that again, Mr. Guy.
I will. If you're interviewing suspects and they tell you, I didn't do it, or I did it, it was self-defense, you just stop questioning?
No.
Do you continue to challenge their story?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, and relevancy. It's about this case, not when you do that case.
I understand, but it's overruled.
Thank you.
Do you continue to challenge them?
Yes.
Did you do that in this case?
Yes.
And when that interview was concluded, was the defendant arrested for the murder of Jordan Davis?
Yes, he was.
All right, thank you, sir.
May he be excused?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Hanania?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Detective.
Thank you.
Any more witnesses from the state?
The state of Florida rests.
Ladies and gentlemen, both the state and the defense and the state in rebuttal have rested their cases. I need to speak to the lawyers for a few minutes before we continue. The next aspect of this case is closing arguments from the attorneys. I expect that it will be lengthy, but my intention is to give you a break now and come back and begin those closing arguments and conclude them hopefully this evening. Depending on the timing, we may then send you back to the hotel for the evening and bring you back tomorrow morning for me to read you the jury instructions that apply in this case, and then let you begin to deliberate your verdict. I just think timing-wise, that's probably the way it's going to go. I could be wrong. Things might go a little quicker than I think, but so far, I think that's probably where we're going to be. So that just gives you an idea of the rest of the afternoon. So let me go ahead and give you a 20-minute break till 2:25. And again, don't discuss the case among yourselves. We're not to the end. Don't let anybody approach you. We'll watch over your notes. We'll see you back in 20 minutes.